Well, the Sun Belt Conference is hoping the spring sports season can be as fulfilling as football season was in the fall. This week in a report by CBS Sports, it was revealed the Sun Belt Conference ranked first in conferences that weren't automatic qualifiers for the BCS, ranking ahead of Conference USA, the MAC, and the Mountain West, for examples. Now, with basketball in full swing, the conference has taken to social media as they start to ramp up to the conference tournament that will be played in a new home. So for more on #Sunbelt Sports, we head over to Studio C, where Paul is joined by a man who has to be thrilled with everything happening in the conference right now.
Victor, thank you very much. Pleased to be joined by Sunbelt Conference Commissioner Karl Benson, former commissioner of both the MAC and the WAC. And you heard Victor reference what CBSSports.com had to say about your conference. 8-1 against other non-qualifying conferences in football this year. How does being the top-ranked non-AQ conference sound to you?
Well, I think it just kind of justifies what we've been trying to get out there, Paul, and that's that Sunbelt football has made the grade, and it's established, it's credible, and it is very, very competitive.
I can remember a couple of years ago when ULL came to New Orleans for the New Orleans Bowl and won in dramatic fashion on the long kick at the end of the game. Well, here we stand 3 years, 3 bowl games later, 3 straight New Orleans Bowl wins for ULL, the most recent over Tulane. How about the success the Ragin' Cajuns have had in New Orleans? And Arkansas State won this year. Your league went 2-0 in bowl games this year.
Well, again, UL Lafayette has become a very, very credible football program, and 3 straight New Orleans Bowl wins, and on the verge of top 25 rankings. Then you take in Arkansas State, and last year we kind of were bragging that it was the best season ever in Sun Belt history, and then we capitalized this year by even being better, ranking ahead of all of our peer conferences. So as we go into 2014 with some new membership, a lot of excitement, a lot of enthusiasm, and again, kind of established ourselves this past year.
Certainly new results, and it's no longer like the little brother, really gaining respect in football, and as you referenced, gaining members. A couple of teams that I know very, very well from calling games in the Southern Conference for years. Appalachian State, people will remember the great win at the Big House Appalachian had a couple of years ago over Michigan, and Georgia Southern. Those are 2 real powerhouses, but you've got Idaho coming in and New Mexico State, a couple of teams that I know you're very familiar with. How do you feel about these teams in particular, and Appalachian and Georgia Southern, again, from a very strong FCS football conference?
Well, former national champions, and you mentioned Appalachian State beating Michigan. Georgia Southern beats Florida, this year down in the swamp. So, 2 programs that have great national reputations, great fan bases. We think that both those programs are going to be, whether they're the next Boise State or the next Marshall that makes the move from FCS to FBS. But those programs are ready to play in the Sun Belt.
Well, Appalachian in particular, Boone, North Carolina has great football, but it does not have great cell service. You get up in those mountains there and it gets a little crazy. But with stretching the conference, the Sun Belt, we've thought about it along the Gulf Coast for so long, but now going up to Boone, North Carolina, but also up to Moscow, not Moscow, Idaho, and out to Las Cruces, New Mexico. What about stretching the conference the way you are?
Well, that's from a football standpoint only. With University of Idaho and New Mexico State, both had been in the Sun Belt previously, and we still want to protect our footprint. We really like the fact that we're a Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, a little bit in North Carolina, but we still like the Sun Belt. The Sun Belt name has great recognition, and New Mexico State and Idaho are football only, so those are a little bit on the edge. But we really like our membership in the future. We think we've got a lot of programs that are on the rise, whether it's the UL Lafayette or the Arkansas State. How about South Alabama? The 4th year, as a football program, they get to 6-6. So I think that tells you a little bit about, I think, the depth and just the overall, kind of credibility, in the Sun Belt Conference.
Well, football obviously exciting, and basketball now heating up, and for the first time since 2002, the Sun Belt basketball tournament is coming to New Orleans, both the men and women, and I know that you've got a lot of programs leading up to that and are very excited about coming back to New Orleans for the Sun Belt basketball tournament.
We really are, and it's part of our strategy for the Sun Belt to be part of Greater New Orleans and to be a part of the sporting environment and landscape here in New Orleans. Our headquarters just moved into the Dome, which is exciting, and to have the basketball tournament, out at Lakefront, this year and for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years plus, we're really excited about New Orleans being the home of the Sun Belt Conference.
And we see it on the graphic here, and Victor referenced that you've got social media working. How about hashtag NOLAbound? You've really got tailgate, New Orleans-style tailgate parties going on throughout the conference as you get ready to come to the tournament.
We've gone to each of our campuses, or we'll go to each of our campuses and have a little bit of New Orleans-style event with some red beans and rice and some jambalaya and some beads, and trying to encourage fans from throughout the Sun Belt to converge on New Orleans in March for the Sun Belt tournament.
Well, we look forward to talking to you more in the weeks ahead about Sun Belt Conference basketball and the tournament coming up, but there's nothing bad about a good tailgate, Victor, whether it's at a football or basketball game, especially with a New Orleans flavor.
Sounds like a great plan, and our thanks to Commissioner Karl Benson for joining us tonight. We'll look forward to having him back here with us soon again on CST Tonight.